What's good, everybody? It is Tony the Savant, and I am back, and we are talking about the NBA Finals as the match has been set after the Dallas Mavericks completed their gentleman's sweep against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We will have the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. But before we dive into that, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, please like this video, uh, comment on this video, subscribe to this video. Also, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel. A little bit of help goes a long way, and I just can't say thank you enough to those who have shown love and help and supported this channel. So, if you don't mind doing that, I would greatly appreciate it. And let's get right into the work as we're talking about some interesting factors that will play into this Dallas Mavericks and Boston Celtics matchup. I don't think you can get everything into one video, so we got a week, about just under a week, to really get the gist and break down this matchup. As I think the NBA Finals, this might, everybody says this is going to be a 7-game series. Everybody's been saying that this entire playoffs, as it has been entertaining for the most part, at least on the Western Conference side. But at the same time, I don't think that you can get everything about this particular chess match in one video. So over this next week, we'll chop down this tree a little bit at a time. And then by the end of it, of course, we'll have a better idea and a better picture of what the NBA Finals are going to look like. But we got about a week, so just giving my initial thoughts. This is going to be one for the ages. I mean, as far as duo tandems. First off, I just want to say both teams are healthy. I know the Celtics have been getting a lot of criticism about quote-unquote playing unhealthy teams, but the Celtics haven't been 100% healthy. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that the Miami Heat didn't have the Miami Heat didn't have Jimmy Butler. Also, Donovan Mitchell only played 2 or 3 games for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Same for Tyrese Halliburton. The point of the matter is that you can't really play guys if they're injured, so you got to play the guys in front of you, and the Boston Celtics were able to get the job done in each round of the playoffs. You can have your criticism, you can have your thoughts, your comments, but at the end of the day, the Boston Celtics are in the championship round, and they got an opportunity to hang better a team. If they played those same teams and went through war and won, if they played these same teams and they all had, G League talent, at the end of the day, the Boston Celtics are exactly where they wanted to be at this point in the NBA season. On the other side of the ball, of course, the Dallas Mavericks have had a grueling round each round, playing one of the, projected favorites at the beginning of, the past 4 or 5 seasons easily. Talking about the Los Angeles Clippers, dismantling them, then moving on to the next round, playing the number 1 seed, Oklahoma City Thunder with MVP candidate. Young MVP candidate Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was able to get past them, and then made these young Timberwolves who were really getting a lot of people to buy in to their championship hopes. Gentlemen swept them. So the Dallas Mavericks, their road has been a little tougher, but they've been just as impressive on getting here. We can't really talk about the Dallas Mavericks without talking about Luka Doncic. And as far as this particular season goes, I don't think we can talk much about Luka Doncic without talking about Kyrie Irving, as both these dudes have been all-time, elite. I think that we knew that they could score and get their, points and all that kind of stuff, but what they've displayed in this playoffs has people, raving and saying it, putting the claim that this is the best backcourt in NBA history. I would, stake my claim on Steph and Clay's, hill, just as far as what the Splash Brothers have been able to do, as far in the championship realm and in the historic realm as well. At one point in time, we were talking about Klay Thompson being the second best shooter of all time. Still think, Klay still probably does have a case. Look at the numbers close enough, but And I'm just saying that to say that's where my vote would go as far as the greatest backcourt of all time. But with Kyrie and Luka, um, there'd been nothing short of spectacular and impressive. All things considered, we all know when these two first get linked up, there was a lot of people, hating on Kyrie. Kyrie was, a villain in the media. But I've always said, as far as Luca and Kyrie goes, these are two students of Kobe Bryant, man, and we all know that Kobe Bryant loved his proteges with all his heart and might. Tried to instill as much. Of the game, not just physically as far as moves and and how to deal with the media, but also the mental approach to the game, as far as being a man and a role model and a basketball player. Kobe took all three of those facets very seriously, and you can see it in his students today: Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Kyrie Irving, he'd probably been his unanimous number one student. You can see it. Jason Tatum too. Jason Tatum was a devout Kobe student. So you can see it in all these guys, the blueprint that Kobe set for them. Whether you have criticisms on how well they lived that out or not, I understand that. But at the end of the day, you can still see Kobe's blueprint on these guys. And I think that Kyrie and Luka, some people forget that they're both students of Kobe Bryant. I'm pretty sure they swapped many of stories and exchanged many of tidbits that Kobe shared with each of them, and they've probably been able to bond in that way, outside of just being two superstar athletes in pursuit of a championship. Again, I got nothing but admiration for what these two dudes have been able to accomplish, considering all doubt that was involved. Uh, will it be enough to get the job done with the Boston Celtics? My only thing with that is that we just seen, all things considered, the Dallas Mavericks were able to easily dismantle the Timberwolves, for the most part, especially in the closing act of the games. But still, Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels and Cat, they were still, they were still able to be pesky enough, and definitely pesky enough to get a win out of the series. The Boston Celtics, all things considered, they swept and they got a couple extra days of rest. On the other side, Dallas, they had some troubles, with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So there's at least one game out in the Western Conference Finals that the Boston Celtics can use as a blueprint for what they can do to defeat the Dallas Mavericks. And my other concern is that the Boston Celtics have the defense and the offense. The Timberwolves just had the defense. They had one elite scorer who was young, not even in his prime, still was able to get, his points at some instances in some spurts of the game. But at the same time, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have been around this block many a times. They know they've seen this movie. I think that, in 2022, when I first started my channel, it was around the time when it was exactly around around the time where the playoffs began and the Golden State Warriors were playing the Denver Nuggets, and then I just had a feeling my homie Steph was gonna go on a run, and did exactly what I thought he was gonna do. So I started my channel at that time, and just been covering sports ever since. But the Boston Celtics, I feel like they didn't really have a chance, and all things considered, they were kind of at that point that Anthony Edwards is at right now, as far as I would say they was in their primes, but probably that first year of their prime. Anthony Edwards still has a couple more years, a year or two before he gets to that point. But in the same breath, shooting some bail to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're 22, 23, and 25. They're in that age range. In the NBA Finals, playing a legendary Steph Curry, who has been dealing with a career worth of criticism, just having to get over this last hump of winning the championship without Kevin Durant, getting the Finals MVP. The Boston Celtics, those young Celtics, ran up against a legendary Curry that I contest no team in the East that year could have beat Steph Curry. Giannis lined them up. The Heat lined them up. Steph Curry was just playing outside of his mind. So, with all that considered, this time around, being 2 years, 3 years older, a lot more experience, having that grueling series, how the Boston Celtics went out last year, 7 games to an 8th-seeded rival. Like, we even got to call them Miami Heat. It's your number one rival. The AC just improbable, unpredictably eliminating you out of the playoffs in 7 games. The Boston Celtics have seen it all, man. On paper, and they're probably the complete opposite of what the Timberwolves were. So, like I said, the Dallas Mavericks did have their troubles with the Timberwolves in spurts, and, in little stints, as well. Dallas rely heavily, a lot on Kyrie and Luka. Will that play against them? I'm not saying Kyrie or Luka would gas out. Luka seems a little bit more, heavy set, if you will, but I think that his attrition is there. I think that Kyrie holds him accountable and keeps him sharp in that regard. Just, having enough in the tank to get the job done. We've seen Luka close a game. He closed game. Well, shit, he closed the game last night in the first quarter. Opened and closed that game in the first and second quarter, first half, really. So, kudos to him. But as far as, just having enough, what I'm saying is, if you're going to be in a dogfight with a team like the Boston Celtics, I think Luka will have some gas in the tank, and that's attributed to Kyrie. Kyrie has always been very healthy. He had good attrition on the court. I've never seen Kyrie tired, now that I think about it. Will these two be able to be enough? Could they put up 100 points? Because this Boston Celtics team, I think they're going to be a green stone wall. Getting Kristaps Porzingis back, man. I don't know how I've just talked 10 minutes about this NBA Finals matchup and have not talked about Kristaps Porzingis real fast. I think his post presence is going to be serviceable to the Boston Celtics, but I do have some concerns as far as him being able to keep up with those athletic bigs between Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. I think those two dudes are pogo sticks. They are always ready to take a lob. So how will that play against Kristaps Porzingis? We will see. And I'm trying to think of another big that is on the Boston Celtics. I'm thinking of that dude, number 40. He could be 6 fouls for you. Al Horford. Al Horford is 138 years old now. So I don't think he's going to be able to keep up with those young bigs, and as far as if the Dallas Mavericks start getting on those fast breaks and those guys are jumping out the gym catching oops, things could be a problem. But Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown will probably play more down in the paint, being a service in that regard, kind of offsetting some of that athletic advantage that the Dallas Mavericks will have. So like I say, man, it's a lot of stuff to break down. Excuse me. I don't think the NBA Finals matchup could be any more interesting than this. We got Luka Doncic on a legendary run. Got Luka. I made a video about 2 weeks ago criticizing Luka, and then I had to run the video back apologizing because after he hit that 3 against Rudy Gobert. I had to, give him my respect. But I used to think Michael Jordan was a lunatic for being very high on Luka Doncic, but I see it now, you know what I'm saying? And I can see exactly what MJ sees. There's a reason why Luka is signed to the Jordan brand. Jordan only signs guys that he believes in, so he's just one of those guys, man. I think that if Luka's able to get the job done because he continues on this legendary run, the sky's the limit for this dude, man. He could get into the GOAT conversation easily. And with Kyrie Irving, man, just the artist, the virtuoso, complete his legacy tour, much like much like his, I would say, number one rival Steph did a couple seasons ago. Kyrie Irving has an opportunity to bring some narratives around his career full circle with a championship victory here. And another thing that I think that people aren't really considering. I just think it's kind of funny how the stars align for so long. When you talk about Kyrie Irving's, ultimate success, people kind of attach that to LeBron James, much like his teacher and mentor Kobe Bryant. For the longest time, anytime you talked about Kobe's highest of highs, you had to talk about Shaquille O'Neal, in conjunction. I think that if Kyrie Irving and the Dallas Mavericks are able to get a victory, we're going to have a discussion, as far as Kyrie Irving being an all-time great point guard, one. Two, how the hell did he not get on the top 75 list of a guy like Damian Lillard? Respectfully, I'm not knocking Dame. Dame is elite. Dame is one of the best to do it, but give me Kyrie every day and every night and twice on Sundays. If it's a decision between him and Damian Lillard, I'm sorry, respectfully, Kyrie can do everything Damian Lillard can do, and he got the mentality of Kobe. Give me Kobe, give me Kyrie Irving every day of the week. Kyrie should definitely be on that top 75 list over Dame Lillard. But again, just one of those full circle narratives of Kyrie is able to get a victory for his personal legacy. I think that people are going to have to give him his respects. A lot of disrespect. I hear people talking about the all-time point guard list, quite often in the basketball communities. And it's just like, Kyrie's, just never really in the mix. They'll name everybody else. And it's kind of like this disdain to try to put Kyrie somewhere in the mix. Kyrie, I got to look at my top top 10 point guard list. I'm going to drop a video soon enough on that. But, Kyrie is into my mix, man. Definitely. Especially as the guy that he was the one for me that won that championship in 2016. That's his championship. That ain't LeBron. So he's definitely in the mix for me. But this victory would be put, amongst the casuals, amongst the just giving him his just due, his respect in the basketball world. I think this would definitely be a victory for him. Moving on the other side of the ball, like I say, Boston Celtics, they have been here, done that. This is their sixth. They just participated in their sixth Eastern Conference Finals in the last 8 years. You're talking about almost a decade of domination there for the Jays. The Jays have seen multiple iterations of the Boston Celtics and have found success with most of them, at least getting to the playoffs and having a deep playoff run. These dudes are battle tested, man. And I've said before, these two remind me of Jordan and Pippen, just being two guys organically drafted by organization. One guy kind of being, drafted as definitely Jason Tatum and Jordan, and likewise, or were drafted to be the number one, guys of the franchise. And then you had Jaylen Browns and Scottie Pippens, who were unlikelies, were serviceable guys, at least, and then turned into superstars. Respectfully. I think, and I'm not saying Jaylen Brown is second fiddle or anything like that. I think when people say the Scottie Pippen of a team, I've always found that to be incredibly disrespectful, especially as a guy that grew up watching the Chicago Bulls on the south side of Chicago. Scottie Pippen was a him. You know what I mean? And yes, a lot of that was attributed to Jordan, of course, as far as, helping him develop that mentality. But Scottie Pippen was all world, himself in his own right. So when people say he's the Scottie Pippen of the team, I've always found that to be disgusting. And I've made multiple videos, or at least saying that multiple times in the past. Scottie Pippen is a him on the top 75, top 50 list himself. So there ain't no bums making on the all-time top 50 list. When I compare him to Jaylen Brown, it's just, as far as storylines and his development, Jaylen Brown has definitely developed into a superstar, almost to the point where we having debates just like they used to do back in the Bulls time. I remember it vividly. They used to have debates if Scottie Pippen was the number one or Michael Jordan was the number one. Jordan, undoubtedly set himself apart with the game winners and, just being cerebral. Jason Tatum hasn't really done that, but, nonetheless, his story arc is closer to Jordan's as far as being drafted as a cornerstone of a franchise. There's just a lot to break down in this championship. This is probably my longest running video. I just checked the ticker. because there's just so much to talk about, and that's why I want to start the video off with that. We got a week, a little under a week, like I said, and we will be breaking down a lot of the chess pieces that's involved, or the chess potential matchups that's involved in this NBA Finals. Again, shout out to the Dallas Mavericks, the Boston Celtics, getting here. You know, two different paths, but got to get the job done. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's all about getting the job done. That's all I got for y'all on this one. Again, sorry for the longer run. If you don't mind, please like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel. Getting a lot more professional with it, so y'all just work with me. You know, thank y'all again for the love and support. Really can't say thank you enough. But it is Tony the Savant. Peace.